Since the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi by writer and director Rian Johnson, a lot of fans have been very upset with the way things are going in the sequel trilogy. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. And a lot of that had all to do with, of course, how Luke Skywalker was treated in the film, and how he didn't get as much action as he really deserved in that movie. Now, looking at J.J. Abrams, we do know that he is actually going to be delivering a ton of new surprises for the character of Luke Skywalker in Episode 9, in both the form of a Force ghost and, of course, in a flashback sequence. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. However, one of these set designs is specifically developed for both Mark Hamill and Adam Driver. Now, what's really interesting about this is that there are some hints here that Luke will actually use a lightsaber in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, Mark Hamill will be training with a lightsaber hilt prop piece this January of 2019 for a scene in Episode 9. Rehearsals will also be done at the very end of this month of December before they begin filming in January. Now, what's really interesting to me about all of this is that this does line directly up with what we heard 3 weeks ago, that Luke Skywalker would be getting some kind of action in Episode 9 to a certain extent. Even if it's going to be, a very small scene, I think that we deserve to see more scenes with Luke Skywalker using a lightsaber. Now, there are two big possibilities coming out of this. Number one, it could have all to do with Luke Skywalker using a lightsaber against his own nephew, or quite possibly a different enemy, in the form of a flashback, maybe Supreme Leader Snoke perhaps, and perhaps it'll explain how Snoke got his injuries. Number two is that perhaps maybe Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost is going to be able to wield a lightsaber and go up against his nephew Kylo Ren in present time. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that the second possibility there would really anger a lot of fans out there, because if we want to see a lightsaber duel with Luke Skywalker going up against a dark side user, I think that everybody wants to see Luke do it while he is alive. So I think it's pretty safe to say that whatever scene this really is that's going to be filmed in the near future involving Mark and, of course, Adam Driver, I believe that it all has to do with, of course, no other than, Luke Skywalker in the form of a flashback. Now, this could be the training sequence. It could absolutely be the training sequence that we have been hearing about. There's a flashback, apparently a part of Episode 9, if it does make it to the finalized version of the movie, in which both Luke and Kylo Ren / Ben Solo actually do have a training session in the form of engaging in a lightsaber duel, but it's training, they're not fighting per se. So that would be an interesting angle for Star Wars. That's a different type of training that we have never seen before, and after all, it seems like each Star Wars movie in the sequel trilogy only gives us little hints of the flashbacks from the past, and then the next movie answers more questions. So in The Force Awakens, we only saw glimpses of Luke's burning Jedi temple with R2-D2. Then in The Last Jedi, they showed us the entire scene. And in The Force Awakens, we only got a glimpse of the Knights of Ren sequence with Kylo Ren. Now, also, that must be answered in Episode 9 as well. I believe it will. So going into Episode 9 here, we do know that Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren are going to have two big revelations in this movie. Whatever that's going to be, I have no idea, but I think what JJ and Chris Terrio are really trying to do here is to create these reveals from these two characters that'll make us look at those characters differently in both The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi, which honestly could be a good or a bad thing. We'll have to wait and see. As far as Luke using an actual lightsaber in Episode 9, I couldn't be more excited. Whatever action sequence this is going to be, and apparently the fact that Mark Hamill is actually going to be training with a lightsaber hilt, I don't know what we could possibly expect. Since it is with Adam Driver, I'm going to have to say it has something to do with a training sequence and or a sequence in which he is fighting his nephew Kylo Ren in the form of a Force ghost. After all, it is possible. If you look at Yoda, he's holding his cane, he's able to bop it on Luke's nose. Who's to say Luke can't pick up a lightsaber hilt and go up against his own nephew Kylo Ren? Now that to me, you know, it could work, it could not work. It sounds very silly, I'm sure, to a lot of you guys. This was done in one of the Star Wars Force Unleashed video games. By the way, that's not canon. In that game, you actually went up against the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he fought you with a lightsaber while he was an actual Force spirit. Interesting concept, but I'm not quite sure how that could really be executed on screen without it looking too cheesy. We'll have to wait and see exactly what JJ and Chris Terrio have in store for this film. And after all, you know, the possibilities really are endless. They could make Luke Skywalker appear as a Force Ghost, but also appear as if he is alive. We've seen the evolution of Force Ghosts, especially with Yoda being less transparent. And from all the different descriptions that we have been going over, some of those consist of Luke looking pretty solid with only a slight blue hue. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding on the one. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.